This is a syllabus overview for English 2000, Introduction to Literary Studies. So I am Dr. Eric McCarthy. My office is located in Academic Building 103C, room 103C. And my hours this semester are 1 to 3 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and 2 to 3 on Tuesday, Thursday. And I'll talk a little bit more about my office hours later in this presentation. There is my email address for you, and that is my preferred method of communicating directly with you. So please use your Gordon Outlook email account to communicate with me. So first, we'll talk about the required texts in the course. First is a book by Anne Doby. We're not going to be reading this one first. I just listed these alphabetically, so this will actually be the second textbook that we get into. This will be in the second half of the semester. Its title is Theory into Practice, an Introduction to Literary Criticism, and it is the 4th edition of this book. The next one is Writing About Literature, edited by Edgar Roberts. This is the 13th edition. This one's been around a long time. And I just want to say that there may be earlier editions of these books out there on the used book market, but if you buy one of those, it will have different content. So if you wind up with one of these earlier editions, it might be difficult for you to keep up with daily assignments and follow along with class discussion and activities. The page numbers will be different, just very different books. So please make sure you get the correct editions. In addition to the required textbooks, there will be lots of short readings that will be posted on D2L as PDFs or web links, and I'll show you some examples of that a little later in this presentation. So let's talk about the technology for the course. All the written work that you do, well, everything that you do in this class will be done online, but written work must be submitted through D2L. That's the only way that I will read it and assess it. So I won't read or assess essays that are sent to me as attachments and emails or anything like that. It's got to be submitted through D2L. D2L functions work best using Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox internet browsers. Cell phones and tablets are not fully compatible with D2L, and some of the tools and functions may not work properly from these types of devices. So if you ever encounter technical glitches, difficulties, the first question to ask is, are you using a computer, a laptop or desktop computer? Because phones and tablets are not fully compatible. If you do not have one, they are available on campus, and I believe you can actually check out laptop computers. Might make things a little easier for you. So in addition, all written work must be submitted as a Microsoft Word document or PDF. So it's a good idea to save your document files to your desktop or flash drive and then upload them from there rather than the cloud or something like that. Have actual copies of your files before you upload them on D2L. If you do not have Microsoft Word on your personal computer, you can download Office 365 for free by clicking on the Student Help drop-down menu on the navigation bar on your D2L homepage. The navigation bar also includes a Tools and Resources drop-down with a link to Galileo. That's a database tool that you'll use to complete assignments later in the semester. And there's an online writing tutorial service called NetTutor, also available from that drop-down. So let's talk a little bit about what this course is all about. It's designed to provide the English major with knowledge and skills that are necessary to read and write effectively about literature for courses numbered at the 3000 level and above. In the first half of the semester, weeks 2 through 7, we will talk mainly about features of different literary genres. There'll be a lot of terminology and practice analyzing and writing about these concepts. The second half is more theoretical. That's weeks 8 through 16. And during the second half, we'll look at major trends in literary criticism over the last 100 years and discuss how those trends have shaped our reading and understanding of literary texts today. By the end of the semester, the goal is for you to have a really good understanding not only of the complexity of literature and the diverse ways literary critics talk about it, but also have a better understanding of yourself as a reader and writer. You'll find things that you like, you'll find some things that you don't like. You should emerge from this class with a good deal more confidence in your identity as an English major. There will be 5 short papers throughout the semester, a formal research paper at the end, quizzes, weekly online discussions, and a midterm and final exam. And we'll talk about all of those things a little bit more in a moment. But before we do, I want to talk a little bit about the design of this class. Except for the required textbooks, which I already showed you, all the course content will be accessible on D2L. So you will see separate modules for literary readings, discussions, quizzes and exams, and essay instructions. You see them here. This is a screenshot of the content of our D2L page. The only module that's missing here is video lessons, but there's the module for readings, for example. And when you open it, you'll see PDFs and web links to readings that will be due. And you'll look at the assignment schedule in the course introduction module, which you see right above the readings module here. There's an assignment schedule in there, and that will tell you what's due on a week-to-week basis. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. So there are these modules. I usually make announcements on Monday, so look for announcements from me on Monday morning. The exception might be Labor Day or fall break. I might not have announcements on Mondays on those days. But I do make weekly announcements explaining anything that's been added to the course, particularly quizzes. Quizzes will be announced on Mondays as a general rule. So if we open the readings module, you'll see here, these are the 2 readings, Desiree's Baby by Kate Chopin and Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti. The first one's a PDF document. The second one is a web link. And these 2 readings are due next Monday. So you'll want to make sure that you do next week, I should say. So you'll want to make sure that you get these read by Monday morning. Since this is an online class, the assignment schedule is organized by week rather than day. For each week, you will see a list of textbook readings, literary readings, video lessons, and assignments. And I'm going to talk a little bit about each of these. So what you see here is a screenshot of the assignment schedule. And it starts with the textbook readings. These are chapters from your actual physical textbooks that are required for the class. Next will be literary readings, if there are any. Usually there are, and I'll tell you where those can be found. Some of them are found in your textbooks. Some of them will be PDFs or web links available in that readings module, and you'll see Desiree's Baby there. Also, Goblin Market is listed there for the second week. Video lessons. These will be recordings just like the one you're watching right now. There will be 3 of them next week, one on MLA format, one on active reading, one on understanding plot, and then finally assignments that are due next week. Actually, there's a syllabus quiz that's, you don't see it there, but when you look at the actual assignment schedule, you'll see it listed. So any assignments that are going to be due next week will be listed there. When it comes to the readings, the textbook readings and the literary readings, the assumption is that those will always be complete Monday morning. So just think of this as when you see the weekly schedule, that all the readings should be completed by Monday. Let's talk about calculating your course grade. Response essays and review essays. You'll write 5 essays, 5 of these total. You'll get to decide the proportion. You'll do at least 2 response essays and 2 review essays, and we'll talk more about this in just a minute. There are 5 of them, and each one will be worth 5% of your course grade. There'll be a research paper that's worth 20%. Homework is worth 30%. The midterm exam is 10%, and the final exam is 15%. So we'll talk a little bit more about your grade breakdown in just a minute. The trigger writer, the nature of the subject matter treated in this course, you may encounter texts, statements, images that you deem to be offensive or morally objectionable. I can almost count on it. So we'll be reading William Faulkner, trying to run through my mind some of the things that we'll be reading this semester, but some of the language can be strong. So I just want to reassure you that all such material will be presented and discussed in a respectful and constructive manner, and always with the academic objectives of the course in mind. If this becomes a concern for you, please get in touch so we can discuss your issues and the best way to address them. I'll just say that I do not issue alternative assignments or excuse students from participating in class, doing work on the grounds of personal objection. Okay, let's talk about graded work in a little bit more detail here. So the essays again, 25% of your grades, the 5 short essays. There will be response essays in which you'll analyze selected literary works, short stories and poems, the things that we're reading, and applying literary terminology that you learned in class. The review essays will be a little bit more complicated, and they will involve doing library research and writing reviews of scholarly articles that utilize one of the theoretical approaches learned in class. And this will primarily be in the second half of the semester. So response essays will be the first half. Review essays will be mostly in the second half. You must write at least 2 response essays and 2 review essays. Your 5th essay you can choose. If you want to do an additional response, if you don't, then you're going to have to do 3 review essays in the second half of the semester. All 5 must be completed to pass the course. 20% of your grade will be determined by the research paper. You will apply one of the theoretical approaches that gets presented in class to a writer or literary work of your choice. You will be expected to conduct independent research and incorporate secondary sources using proper citation methods. This assignment must be completed to pass the course. If for some reason you cannot get your work uploaded on D2L, please email it to me as an attachment before the scheduled due date. And try uploading it again later. This must be done to avoid potential penalties. If you upload it after the due date, there could be penalties applied. And if you can't get it uploaded on a D2L, you need to get some tech support from your D2L homepage to try and figure out what's going on. I will not evaluate work that has not been submitted on D2L. Finally, you are responsible for what you upload. I can only evaluate what you submit, and once my evaluation is complete, it cannot be redone because you uploaded the wrong file. So please make sure that what you upload is what you want me to grade. Late essays will be penalized 3 points per day, including weekend and vacation days. Any essay more than 3 days past due may receive a failing grade. Okay, homework. 30% of your course grade will be determined by a variety of short assignments, including weekly online discussions, short exams, and unscheduled pop quizzes. There will be a midterm exam worth 10% of your grade and will cover literary terminology, and then a final exam worth 15% of your course grade that will cover literary theory. Further instructions and specifications for all these assignments, the essays, everything, will be provided a little bit later in the semester as we get to it. But please consult the assignment schedule for due dates. All the due dates are already set. Exams and scheduled quizzes cannot be rescheduled or made up without consulting with me prior to the exam date, and you have to give me a compelling reason why. I generally will decline rescheduling exams. Pop quizzes will usually be announced on Mondays. You will have 24 hours to complete them. They cannot be made up. If you miss a pop quiz, you miss it. There's no way to recover those points, and there is no extra credit in the class. Okay, a little bit more about my office hours. I hold in-person office hours Monday through Friday. The times are on the syllabus right at the top. Drop-in visits are welcome, but I do recommend scheduling with me at least 24 hours in advance to hold a specific time slot. Remote video conference is another option, but also requires arrangement in advance. Scheduled appointments always take precedence over drop-ins. So if you drop in and I'm with a student or I'm conferencing with somebody, you'll just have to wait. I schedule meetings on a quarter hourly basis, and I try to limit all office appointments to around 15 minutes to make sure that I have room for everybody, including drop-ins. You may also send me short questions by email. That's more common. Please see my note about email correspondence at the top of the syllabus, basically letting you know that to use your Gordon Outlook account to communicate with me. I typically answer emails during my office hours, Monday through Friday. I will occasionally respond after hours, but that is not the norm, and I do not respond on weekends or during scheduled breaks as a general rule. Sometimes I do if I see it, but please don't have the expectation that I respond to emails at 10 o'clock at night or at 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. So some important academic dates to keep in mind this semester. This is for in-person and online classes. No class on September the 4th. That's Labor Day, so I'm not going to schedule a quiz that day. October the 6th is midterm officially. October 13th is the last day to withdraw from the class passing. October 16th to 17th, that's a Monday and Tuesday, that's fall break. November 22nd to 24th, that's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no class for Thanksgiving. And December 6th is the official last day of classes. And then exam week is December 7th through the 13th. Some additional material that is covered in the syllabus that we're just not going to talk about here because the video is already getting pretty long. How to interpret grades, academic dishonesty. Please read that policy very carefully. It will be on the syllabus quiz. More about learning resources and special accommodations, and some information about Title IX and House Bill 280. That concludes this overview of the syllabus for English 2000, Introduction to Literary Studies.